Welcome back to another episode of 40 Facts about the 40K universe. I am your host, Gershwin, and you are watching One Mind Syndicate. Today we continue talking about Space Marine chapters as we get into the Invictors. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. We post Warhammer 40K content every single day. And of course, if you have any suggestions, just comment down below. But with that said, let's get into 40 Facts on the Invictors. The Invictors were formerly a loyalist Space Marine chapter of unknown founding and origin. The Invictors chapter primarily wore purple power armor, which included the shoulder plate trim, helm, torso, and leg. The Invictors chapter badge was a white sword, with the tip pointed downward, surrounded by a white iron halo on a field of black. Following the ecclesiarchal purge of the 37th millennium, a dozen star systems were engulfed by a warp storm known as Dionys. Its echoes rippled along the spiral arms of the galaxy as it raged through the immaterium. Records of mutation and chaos cultist activity quadrupled overnight. Worse yet, it was not only the citizens who were affected by this sudden influx of chaos. Many of the Space Marine chapters with homeworlds affected by the warp storm found that the secret imperfections in their gene seeds were writ large upon their new recruits, giving rise to a wave of disturbing manifestations, both physical and psychological. The Invictors were one such loyalist chapter of Astartes that had been affected by these warp storms. When the ecclesiarchy heard of this sinister turn of events, Saint Basilius the Eldar demanded that all those chapters of the Adeptus Astartes, whose homeworlds had been touched by the warp storm, be rendered onto his judgment. Such was the Elder's influence with the High Lords of Terra, that within a standard year, this had come to pass. After a series of strict tests and prognostications, hundreds of chapters were deemed unaffected by the warp storm. No less than 30 were found wanting. The Judged, as these fallen chapters came to be known, volunteered for a redemptive penitent crusade. The most militant of their number demanded the right to purify their tainted flesh in the fires of battle, to make a noble end from a tragic misfortune. To the surprise of the closest advisors, Saint Basilius agreed to this proposal. He saw it fitting to send the accused into the Eye of Terror, taking the fight for the Imperium's future to the demon worlds inhabited by the traitor Marines. A representative from each of the doomed chapters held an emergency council of dismay to discuss the proposed crusade. After a few hours of debate, they acquiesced to Basilius's demands. They believed that martyrdom was preferable to an existence of suspicion and doubt. The last few days of the 37th millennium saw a solemn procession of strike cruisers and battle barges pass through the Cadian gates into the Eye of Terror, relay systems dormant and heretical colors obscured by black mag plates. One by one, the chapters of the Judge disappeared into the dust nebula that surrounded the Eye. As the massive Space Marine flotilla entered the Eye of Terror, they were set upon by a massive Chaos war fleet. The resulting battle was so fierce that the ships of the Judged were forced to retreat and were scattered to the furthest corners of the Eye. Chapter after chapter fell to the perils of the Eye, for this crusade had entered a hell from which very few individuals emerged unchanged. The true account of what occurred within the Eye to the Invictors is unknown, but most of the tales of the chapter of the Judged ended in tragedy and sorrow. By the time they re-emerged from the Eye, many standard centuries later, the Invictors were no more, for they had become the Chaos Space Marine warband known as the Unhallowed, wholly dedicated to the service of the ruinous powers. And those were 40 facts on the Invictors chapter. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It's a quick one. Really nothing too special about this chapter. It's just one of the Judged. This is a story that you've heard before, probably, if you follow our channel a lot. We talked about this event many times with many other chapters, so I hope you guys enjoyed. With that said, guys, I'll see you tomorrow. This is Gershwin with One Mind Syndicate, signing out.